The day of our altcoin dreams is upon us, folks. Swift is going completely, fully integrated with the ISO 20022 standards on Saturday of this week. Now, obviously, I feel like this is massive news for one of my favorite altcoins, Chainlink, but we got to dig into what this actually might do to XRP. At the end of this video, we're going to dive into that and see if this is going to have any tangible effect for Ripple and XRP holders as we move into the end of this year. So make sure to stay tuned for that, and let's get into it. Now, as the weekends are being completely shook out from this recent market downturn, every single weak-handed Chainlink holder is getting ready to capitulate. They're ready to sell their bags right as world adoption of crypto is at the doorstep and true utility is about to take place. And the integrations being announced right now as retail are completely distracted by the markets is honestly quite insane timing. It makes a hell of a lot of sense to me if I were the world powers of banking infrastructure to scare the hell out of all of the holders of one of the apex altcoin assets on the planet right before you roll it into real world use of payments across the planet through Swift and the CCIP cross-chain interoperability protocol. This is something I have not missed a beat on tracking, folks, and the overall flow of what we've been looking at from Swift and how they're going to connect the world of traditional finance to cryptocurrency is mapped out right in front of us. But with the current sentiment and Bitcoin breaking below $90,000, vanishing altcoins across the board as vaporware goes up into flames, people understandably are running for the hills. But the bullish updates don't stop there. This is a great post from Linkboy that we got to take a look at. Swift joining the European Central Bank in the digital euro innovation platform. Looks like Link will have to announce another partnership on top of everything else going on right now. Haven't found anything yet in the documents of the digital euro, but if the digital euro flows through Swift, it will probably use Chainlink. Now, the timeline on when Swift goes completely live with CCIP after the integration of ISO 2022 happens on Saturday is still largely up in the air, but there's been some serious speculation like this from Access Research that highlights the likelihood of us going live with CCIP in the later part of November. And it was also notably announced at the Sibos event, where Chainlink hosted 24 of the biggest financial market participants on the planet, where there's a whole hell of a lot of conversation about the outlook of Chainlink and CCIP going live with Swift at the end of 2025 or as late as Q1 of 2026. Something important to note about all of this is that they already have the pilot program rolling between Swift and CCIP. November is the likely deployment timeframe when the actual use case goes live, not just in a pilot test environment for Chainlink. Now, I feel like the timing of this release and going live isn't going to put me in some up-only hyper-speculative environment for Chainlink or really altcoins in general, as the market is taking a gigantic dump right now. But if you read through the lines and look through the trees, the avenues for institutional holding of Chainlink to pay for Oracle services have just been opened up for banks here in the United States. Now, this is some of the more bullish news that went way underreported from Niku on Twitter. Shout out to you, man. Such a coincidence. He says that what a coincidence that regulators just allowed banks to hold crypto for paying network fees as of this week. And he put this out 30 minutes after it came out. Now, Swift updates the messaging standards on Saturday to allow blockchain-based messaging and adds new standards specifically for oracles and blockchain network fees. That's the kind of stuff that makes my speculative investing into Chainlink feel so juicy. And some of the other notable things for Chainlink and XRP are happening right now. Some notable things on Wall Street are happening for not just Chainlink, but also XRP right now. And let's have a look. We have Bitwise Invest getting ready to list their Chainlink ETFs, and XRP, not to be forgotten, also rolling out their pre-Thanksgiving rush, according to Brad Garlinghouse. Shall we say turkey trot, he says, for XRP ETFs starting now. Congrats to Bitwise on today's launch. And this is an XRP ETF, began trading on the New York Stock Exchange officially. But the real question we must ask ourselves is, can enough retail FOMO into this shiny new object for XRP and Chainlink ETFs be enough to really push the price into a cataclysmic rise up? Or are retail and large investors largely kind of iffy about the altcoin sector right now, given the recent pullback? I would think that this is gonna kind of go off with a dud. Nasty downturn, people looking at the crypto market, like wondering if it's going to zero. I would wager that Ripple will be using the strong history that they have of dumping their XRP tokens onto their holders' heads to use this event as a slight exit liquidity move. Now, the loyal holders of XRP, they're not selling, they believe in what they have, but any sort of bullish news releases for XRP and Ripple uses this to basically offload some big bags of XRP onto those loyal holders' heads. But I will say this, I've never claimed to be a sane person. So are my bearish outlooks for these ETFs completely insane? You let me know down in the comments if you think something different might happen after these releases. I'm all ears for what you think. The real moral of the story here is Chainlink has an absolute lock on this gigantic partnership with the world's largest money transmitter, Swift. XRP has always looked to replace Swift, and I just simply don't think that that's a very feasible plan to invest in for myself, personally. I am looking at one of the greatest wealth investing opportunities of my lifetime, with these prices beaten down to the point that they're at, Chainlink getting near $10. I'm actually thinking about backing up the truck once again if we do get down to $10. The last time I backed the truck up on Chainlink was about $5, and the time before that at $1.90 pre-bull market of 2021. I am a long-term visionary. I believe in the integration of crypto that can actually change the world in a tangible way, make it faster, fairer across the board, and give access to these awesome technologies to people across the planet. I believe in crypto. I believe in the use case of crypto, and I'm seeing this as a gigantic opportunity while everyone else seems to be running for the hills. My last message to you is, do not get shaken out. If you are worried about this market, take a breath and join our Discord. We are absolutely printing money in there with our trading signal calls. And I do implore you to go take a look, because these things have been absolutely slapping. Link down in the description for that. But if you have questions, get at me on Twitter at DruthCrypto. I love and appreciate every single one of you out there, and I will see you on the next episode.